Scott Adkins can do a 540-degree kick and land it perfectly every time. He's a legitimate martial artist with black belts in multiple disciplines. He's been the lead in over 50 action movies. He does his own stunts. His fight choreography is better than most Marvel films. He's more talented than half the action stars working in Hollywood today, and you've probably never heard of him. Scott Adkins is 48 years old, and he's been making action movies for 2 decades. None of them play in theaters. They all go straight to streaming or VOD. Undisputed, Ninja, Accident Man, Legacy of Lies. Titles you've never seen on a marquee. But if you're an action movie fan, if you know the genre, Scott Adkins is a legend. The hardcore community worships him. Stunt coordinators respect him. Even John Wick's directors cite him as an influence, but mainstream audiences don't know he exists. How does someone this talented stay this invisible? How does the best action star of his generation never break through to Hollywood? The answer is frustrating. Scott Adkins does everything right. He's just doing it in the wrong place. The direct-to-video world where nobody's watching. This is that story. The martial arts prodigy. Picture this: 1990s Britain. Scott Adkins is a teenager obsessed with martial arts. He's training constantly: kickboxing, taekwondo, judo, jiu-jitsu, gymnastics. He's not dabbling, he's mastering them. By his 20s, Scott has multiple black belts. He's competing. He's studying Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan films obsessively. He wants to be an action star, not an actor who does action, an action star who can really fight. Scott moves into stunt work and small acting roles, British TV shows, minor parts in Hollywood productions. In 2006, he was cast in Undisputed 2, Last Man Standing. He plays Boyka, a Russian prison fighter. It's a direct-to-video sequel nobody expects much from. Scott makes it something special. The fight scenes are incredible. Real martial arts, not quick cuts and shaky cam. Scott moves like a weapon. The movie finds an audience. Action fans discover Scott Adkins. Undisputed 2 becomes a cult classic. 2 more Boyka films follow. Undisputed 3 in 2010, Boyka, Undisputed in 2016. Each one goes straight to video. Each one showcases Scott's skills. The choreography rivals anything in theaters. Scott is doing 720-degree kicks, complex combinations, brutal realism. He's not using a stunt double. It's all him. Action purists recognize greatness. Scott Adkins becomes the direct-to-video king, the guy who makes better action movies than Hollywood, but nobody sees them. The skills are undeniable. Scott is legitimately one of the best screen fighters alive. Better technique than most actors in major franchises. More athletic than the guys getting $20 million paychecks. He can do wire work, ground fighting, weapons, everything. And he does it in movies with $2 million budgets that premiere on streaming platforms. It's a waste of generational talent. Scott should be leading major franchises. Instead, he's the best-kept secret in action cinema. The Hollywood tease. Hollywood notices Scott occasionally. In 2012, he's cast in The Expendables 2. It's a small role, but it's huge. Scott plays Hector, a villain who fights Jean-Claude Van Damme. The fight scenes are excellent. Scott holds his own with a legend. This should be his breakthrough. The Expendables franchise is massive. Stallone, Statham, Schwarzenegger. Scott is finally in their world. Then, the movie comes and goes. Scott gets noticed, but not hired. No major roles follow. In 2016, Marvel cast him in Doctor Strange. Scott plays Lucian, A villain working for Caecilius. It's a supporting role with some action. Scott is in the MCU now. That should open doors. Doctor Strange makes $677 million worldwide. Scott is in one of the biggest movies of the year, and it does nothing for his career. He goes right back to direct-to-video after. No other Marvel calls. No other major studios were interested. Scott tries to take control. In 2018, he produced and starred in Accident Man. It's based on a comic book. Scott plays a hitman who kills people in ways that look like accidents. The movie has his personality all over it. Dark humor, brutal fights, British charm. It's the best showcase of what Scott can do. Critics who see it love it. But it goes straight to streaming. The audience is tiny. Netflix picks up the sequel, but buries it in the algorithm. The pattern repeats endlessly. Scott gets a small role in a big movie, does great work, then returns to obscurity. Triple Threat with Tony Jaa and Iger Uwais, IP Man 4 with Donnie Yen. These are theatrical releases internationally, but barely register in America. Scott is always the supporting player, never the guy studios build around. He's too valuable to ignore completely, but not valuable enough to invest in. That's career purgatory. The direct-to-video kingdom. Scott Adkins has made over 50 direct-to-video action movies. That's not an exaggeration. 50. He works with director Isaac Florentine repeatedly. Ninja, Shadow of a Tear, Close Range, Savage Dog. These movies have budgets under $5 million. They shoot in 3 weeks. They premiere on streaming platforms and VOD. Most people will never hear about them, but within the action community, they're respected. Some are considered better than theatrical releases. The action in Scott's films is superior to most Hollywood productions. No shaky cam, no quick cuts hiding the stunts. Long takes showing Scott actually performing impossible moves. The choreography is creative, brutal, and technical. Stunt coordinators watch these films to study Scott's work. It's legitimate filmmaking happening in a space nobody respects. Direct-to-video is seen at the bottom. But Scott's raising the standard of what's possible there. He makes decent money. Direct-to-video action has international markets. These films sell in Asia, Europe, Latin America. Scott gets paid low 6 figures per movie. Do 10 movies a year, and that's a comfortable living. He's not rich like Hollywood stars, but he's working constantly. He's the lead. He has creative input. He's building a filmography on his terms. That's worth something, even if nobody in America knows about it. The fan base is small, but devoted. Action movie purists know Scott Adkins. They've seen every Undisputed film. They argue about which Florentine collaboration is best. Online forums discuss his movies with the same intensity others give to Marvel. Scott has cult status. He's the action star for people who care about action. Not casual audiences, not mainstream success, just the hardcore fans who appreciate craft. Scott seems content with this. He's not begging for Hollywood roles in interviews. He's not bitter about being overlooked. He loves making these movies. He gets to fight, do stunts, and work with directors who understand action. That's better than being the 6th lead in a bloated superhero film. Or maybe that's what he tells himself to cope with never getting the big break. Hard to know which. Why Hollywood won't cast him? The accent is a problem. Scott Adkins is British. American audiences want American action heroes. That's the conventional wisdom. Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Willis, all American. Even when they're not, they play American. Scott's British accent is strong. He's not doing an American accent convincingly. Studios think that limits his appeal. Fair or not, that's the perception. Action heroes are American. Scott isn't. The look isn't quite right either. Scott is handsome, but not in the Hollywood way. He's 5 feet 10 inches, muscular but not huge. He doesn't have the square-jawed superhero face. He looks like a real fighter, which is great for authenticity, but wrong for movie stardom. Hollywood wants pretty faces who look like fighters. Scott looks like an actual fighter. That's different. Less marketable to mainstream audiences. He's too specialized. Scott's entire brand is martial arts. That's a niche. Studios want action stars who can do romance, comedy, drama. The Rock can do everything. John Cena transitioned to comedy. Scott is just action. Pure, technical, martial arts action. There's no versatility to market. You can't put him in a romantic comedy. That limits the roles he's offered. Hollywood needs multi-genre stars. Scott isn't that. Age and timing matter. Scott is 48 now. By the time Hollywood noticed him in The Expendables 2, he was already late 30s. Too old to build a franchise. Studios want actors in their 20s and 30s who can do sequels for 15 years. Scott's window closed before it opened. He needed Undisputed to be a theatrical hit in 2006. It wasn't. By 2012, too late. The direct-to-video stigma is fatal. Once you're known as a DTV actor, Hollywood won't touch you for the theatrical. It's seen as lesser. Even if your work is better, the perception is you couldn't make it in real movies. Scott has that stink. 50 DTV films means he's a DTV guy. Studios won't risk theatrical budgets on that. Unfair, but true. The platform defines you. The respect without recognition. The John Wick directors, Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, both cite Scott Adkins as an influence. They've studied his fight choreography. They've praised his work publicly. These are the guys who redefined action cinema in the 2000s. They respect Scott deeply, but they've never cast him in a major role. Respect doesn't equal employment. They admire him from a distance while hiring other actors. Jackie Chan has acknowledged Scott in interviews, called him one of the best martial artists working. That's massive validation from a legend. Donnie Yen worked with him on Ip Man 4 and praised his skills. Tony Jaa respects him. The martial arts community knows Scott is elite, but that community doesn't control Hollywood casting. The respect is real. The career impact is zero. Action directors study Scott's movies. Film students learning fight choreography watch Undisputed 3. Stunt coordinators show his work to their teams. Scott has influenced how modern action is shot. The long takes, the wide angles, showing the whole body. That's partially Scott's influence filtering through. But he's not in the movies that copied his style. He inspired the technique, and other actors got the roles. The convention circuit loves him. Comic cons, action movie festivals, martial arts expos. Scott appears and fans line up. He's gracious, humble, and happy to be there. The cult following is real, but it's small. Conventions aren't stardom. They're nostalgia circuits and niche communities. Scott is a legend there. In the wider culture, he doesn't exist. YouTube channels dedicated to action movies worship Scott. Video essays analyzing his fight scenes, compilations of his best kicks. The online community keeps his work alive, but online doesn't translate to the mainstream. It's a different ecosystem. Scott is huge in a tiny pond. That's the paradox. Massively respected by people who care about action, completely unknown to everyone else. The unfair reality, Scott Adkins is more skilled than Chris Hemsworth. That's not subjective. Scott has decades of martial arts training. Chris learned to fight for movies, but Chris is Thor. Scott is in direct-to-video. The skill gap is enormous, but it doesn't matter. Hollywood casts based on marketability, not ability. Chris has the face, the charm, the Hollywood machine. Scott has superior technique nobody sees. His choreography is better than most MCU films. Watch any Scott Adkins fight scene and compare it to a Marvel movie. Scott's are longer takes, more complex, more brutal. Marvel does quick cuts and CGI. Scott does real martial arts, but Marvel makes billions. Scott's movies make their budgets back internationally. Quality doesn't equal success. Marketing and platform do. Scott works harder than Hollywood stars. He's doing his own stunts in his 40s on low-budget sets with minimal safety equipment. Meanwhile, major stars have stunt doubles for walking scenes. Scott is shooting 10 movies a year. Most stars do 1 or 2. The work ethic is incomparable. But Hollywood rewards efficiency and box office, not effort. Scott is too good for his platform. That's the tragedy. He's making action movies that deserve theatrical releases. The fights are better choreographed. The stunts are more impressive, but they premiere on platforms nobody respects. The talent is wasted on an audience that'll never find it. Scott Adkins is the greatest action star of his generation that nobody knows exists. And that's Hollywood's loss. Scott Adkins is proof that talent isn't enough. He's the best action star you've never heard of. If you want to discover real action cinema, check out his work. And if this opened your eyes, subscribe and tell me which other hidden action star I should cover. Thanks for reading.